Okay, looking at this question then, here we have the holding company and here we have Zinc. Zinc is the subsidiary, the holding company is actually called Robbie. Alright, so I'm just showing you the equity bit. And again, as it's a balance sheet question, we will get straight on with Zinc's equity table. Okay, so we're going to have to go up and down a little bit, but Z's equity table. Year end, acquisition, post acquisition. And from what I remember, there was just share capital and retained earnings. But let's just go and remind ourselves. Yeah, there you go. Look, 10 and 19 to make up the 29. So far, so good. Presumed that the 10 was that acquisition as well. 19, now we need to go searching then for the retained earnings at acquisition. We know it's going to be in there somewhere, but finding it is another matter. Okay, so let me have a look. There we go. The retained earnings were 15. Okay, so retained earnings were 15, giving me a post-acquisition then so far of 4, and then we just want to bring, that's the book value of 25, I want to bring it in at the fair value. And it says the fair value of the net assets was 26. So it would seem like we just need to put 1 on there, okay? And it says it's due to the increase in PPE, which means we're going to have to calculate some depreciation. But it says it's provisional. Now, when you get provisional fair values, so the provisional fair value, this 26, it's basically a guess. Now, you've done the valuation and you're just waiting for the results. If the results come within a year, you change. If the results come after a year, you don't change. Okay, so let me repeat that. You bring in the fair value at 26, but if the actual results come in within a year, we change. If they come in more than 1 year, we don't change. So let's have a look, because it was provisional. So these valuations were actually received on the 1st of March 12. We acquired it in December 11. So they came back within, 3 months? That's within a year, so we do change. And it's got an increase of 3 million in the fair value of PPE. So that should actually be 4, so that should actually be 29. So we got a new valuation through, or the valuation came through, and it's 29. Okay, so the 4 we're going to depreciate. We just need to know over how long, over 5 years. Okay, and we bought it. I think our year is actually, you can't tell because of the way I've done the question here. But we bought it half a year ago, okay? So we bought it half a year ago. So you take the 4 over 5 years is 0.8 and per annum, and we bought it half a year ago. So times it by 6 months, and you'll get 0.4 depreciation, and you go add 3.6 on to Zinc's PPE. Okay, so we've got a post-acquisition of 3.6. Now what we would do is we would go and do our goodwill, wouldn't we? So goodwill, fair value of consideration, NCI, I'm not sure yet if it's fair value or not, I'll check in a minute. And the fair value of net assets acquired, that's the figure that I do know, is the 29. Alright, let's have a look for the fair value of NCI then. Does it tell me that anywhere? Yep, at fair value, and this was NCI at fair value, and this was at 9 million. Okay, but one thing it does tell me is that when I see it's been bought in 2 stages, originally 5 and then another 55, well, this is what we call a step acquisition. So I'm happy with the 16. The fair value at December 11 was definitely 16 of the 55%, so I'm going to put in the 16. Then, before, I paid 2, but that's what I paid in 09. I want the fair value of it in 11, which he must tell me somewhere. And he says, look, the fair value of the equity interest, that's the 5%, before the business combination was actually 5 million. So it wasn't worth 2, it was actually worth 5, so you add on an extra 3. And that extra 3 also goes to H's retained earnings. Okay, so goodwill, the fair value of consideration then is 21. NCI is 9, the fair value of NCI that's 30, minus 29, goodwill is 1. Okay, that's how you do it. Could go on and do the NCI, I guess. Let's go on and do the NCI. At acquisition, same figure here, isn't it? 9 plus post-acquisition. Okay, we now own 60%, so 40% of the post-acquisition, 40% of 3.6. Let me just get my calculator out to do that. So 3.6 times by 40%, that would give me 1.44. So as far as I know so far, it's 10.44. There might be impairments to deal with, same with on the goodwill. But I'm just trying to point out to you here how we did this provisional fair values and how we dealt with this step acquisition. So with a step acquisition, take what you paid, but revalue the original percentage, okay, to what it would have been at the date of acquisition, which in this case was 5 million. So we had to take the 2 and add on 3, and that extra 3 also goes to ACCA's retained earnings when you do it.